subscribe now and press the bell icon. Never miss an update.
Welcome to another OP10 Leader Spotlight. This time we're here to talk about Usopp, and I've definitely done a lot of videos on Usopp previously, but I wanted to revisit him after the ban list just to see where he's at. Did he get better? Did he get worse? And honestly, I'm really surprised. I think the ban list has definitely helped Usopp. A lot of the annoying cards like Moria, Ice Age, Raigo, and even Jinbei, which made Blue Dofi feel like invincible in some way. Like, all of these bans have directly benefited Usopp in my opinion. One of the cards I'm definitely a little sad to see go is Ice Age. I think Ice Age, synergized very well with Usopp. When combined with Zoro, you can essentially get rid of like any 9-cost characters, and that's without even adding any additional removal. And at the same time, Ice Age was like annoying to go against because it made it easy for removal decks to shut down your tempo in so many different ways. So it's like a double-edged sword. I'm glad it's gone, and I'm also a little sad to see it gone because I feel like I used it very well. So without further ado, let's dive into the leader. Usopp is blue-black, 5,000 in attack, and he has 2 awesome leader abilities. First one is he costs 2 or greater Dressrosa type characters, have +1 cost. So if you're going this removal decks, this is godsend. There's so many times I've been saved by this passive ability, and most of your characters in this deck is going to get access to this, which is great. And then the second one is, during your opponent's turn, once per turn, essentially if you have 5 or less cards in your hand, every time a Dressrosa type character is removed from the field, either through KO or some type of effect, you get to draw a card. So a really good way to continue to cycle through your deck. And before we get through the rest of the card list, even though Usopp is a black leader, he's not meant to be played like a pure black leader. If you're thinking about Lucci or Smoker, Usopp doesn't have a lot of removal in his deck, and that's on purpose. When he had Ice Age, it was great. You could add a lot more removal, but I think the way his deck is now is the way he's meant to be played. He has a good amount of removal. He has the ability to send cards back into your hand, and almost Dofi in a way, he's able to flood his board relatively effectively, making it hard to fight against him. So because of that, please don't play Usopp as a true black leader. Use a lot of the new cards he has. I think it makes him really impactful. And one last thing I'll say is, I don't know why Bandai did this. I opened up 4 OP10 boxes, and finding the Usopp cards were so ridiculously difficult. Out of the 4 boxes, I got 2 Rebecca, 3 Kiros, I think 3 Cavendish, 3 Frankie. So some of the cards I'm still missing. So luckily I have a friend who opened more boxes. He hooked me up, but why Bandai? Why did you make Usopp cards so hard to find? It's probably because he's OP. But besides that, let's dive into it. And before I give you guys any information or even things like deck lists, I like to play these decks a minimum of 100 games on a sim. I think 100 games is a great way to know the strength of the deck, how well the deck works, what your counters are, and just give you a really strong feel for the deck. So before I give you any info, I like to come very prepared. So please take this information, use it in locals, use it in regionals, and I think Usopp definitely has what it takes to be a top 5 meta leader in OP10. So the first card I think it's important to start with is 2 Puddings, 4 cost, 1k counter, 4,000 attack, and on play, essentially take all of your opponent's cards in hand, put it back in the deck, shuffle it, and they get to draw 5 cards. In OP10, I've run across many leaders where by the end of the game or middle of the game, they have so many cards in hand. Think about Enel. When you try to kill Enel, he has 12, 14 plus cards in hand. So Pudding is a great way to mess up your opponent's tempo and also be able to close games out. If they have a crap ton of tons in their hand and you're trying to end their life, play out the Pudding, get them down to 5 cards, and now you can go in and do what you have to do. So running 2 of these I think is definitely needed. Without the Pudding, I had a very hard time. Next is going to be Cavendish, 4 cost, 6k attack. When attacking once per turn, draw 2 cards, trash 1 card from hand. This card is really amazing to cycle through your deck. This is the card you're going to be using to keep finding the pieces you want along with your searchers. Sometimes people like to run 4 Cavendish and 3 Zoro. I kind of did the opposite. I like the extra removal power. But if you do feel like you're not finding all the cards you need, you don't have enough draw power, feel free to go up to 4 Cavendish. He is super strong, especially when combined with Korra Coliseum, which gives your characters rush. So if you put down Cavendish and there's a rested character on your opponent's side, you can attack instantly and start drawing right away. So very impactful, run 3 to 4. Next is going to be one of your big boss, bodies in this deck, Kidos. 7 cost, 9,000. On play, return 5 cost or lower characters to owner's hand. Super powerful. People hate this character. Typically, I only play out Kyros when combining with Rebecca's ability, which I'll dive into. But running 4 of these, I feel like is non-negotiable. Definitely do it. Next is going to be the Sabo. I like to run 3 of the new 3 of the new Sabos, which is 4 cost, 5,000 attack, 2k counter, and he does have a pretty good ability. If one of your characters other than the Sabo with the original cost of 7 or lower would be removed from board by opponent's effect, you may return this card to your hand instead, which I think is really strong. So if you do find yourself going, hey, I don't have enough counters in my deck, I'm getting like too beat up, feel free to add 1 more. He's really strong, and I do feel like he synergizes really well with his deck. And one of the questions people might have is, what if like Kyros, can I use it with him? Yes, you can. They mention original cost here because Usopp's passive ability does not account. And if you look at this deck, we don't have any cards in here which has a higher original cost, more than 7. So this has great synergy. So run 3 to 4 of these, and I think you'll have a good time. Next is the new Leo. He's the main searcher for this deck. I like to run 4 of these, and I definitely like to see Leo within my first hand. If not, I'll mulligan, or at least get it on my second hand. Leo is one of the best searchers because when you play him, you get to rest a leader or a stage, look up 2 cards, or look up 5 cards and pick 2 of them, and then trash 1. So this is a great way to pick up the pieces you need, especially if you're trying to find the right combos for Rebecca. Like, this card is super impactful. Run 4, and without 4, you're gonna have a hard time. Next is gonna be Rebecca, 7 cost, 4,000 attack, 1k counter. And essentially, on play, you get to draw 1 card, and you can put down a 7 cost or lower. So you can put down your Kidos or your Luffy, and then you can put down another 4 cost. If you want to put down a Zora, you can. And this is why I say Rebecca is such an OP character in my mind. She's almost like what Dofi should have been, but she feels more balanced, with the sense that you can't use her ability till 7 Dawn. Where Dofi, right out the gate with like 4 Dawn, before the Jinbei ban, put down the Jinbei into the Weevil or into the other cards he have, and just flooded the board so hard. So I think with Rebecca and Usopp, it feels more balanced, and at 7 Dawn is where all your big plays start to happen. So if you can maintain a proper tempo, have all the pieces you need, you feel pretty unstoppable. So definitely run 4 of these. Because Usopp has a relatively weak early game, essentially after 7 Dawn and higher is when he starts to do great plays, I think you need a good amount of blockers and counters in this deck. So I like to run Idio. He costs, only 2k power, 1k counter, and he's a great blocker, especially early game. Put him out, protect yourself, run 4 of these. Like, if you can protect Usopp until he has all the pieces he needs, Usopp is going to wreck everybody. So definitely run 4. Next is Bartholomew. I love him. 3 cost, 3k attack, 2k counter, and he's a blocker. So if you don't use him for blocking, you still get the 2k counter, which I think is super impactful and needed in this deck. So definitely run 4 of these. Next is going to be the new Dressrosa Luffy, 7,000 attack, 7 cost. And this character can attack active characters, which is really amazing. And then activate main. Once per turn, you send 7 cards from your trash to the bottom of the deck. This card is active again. And then the side effect of this is during your next refresh phase, this card can't be active. So I think this card is definitely really good for trying to end out the game. Or if your opponent has a lot of monsters on their board, you can load up a lot of Dawns on top of Luffy, do a big attack, reset him again by sending 7 cards from trash to bottom of the deck, and then go in for another attack again. But definitely be careful of the side effect, because if you do this and then next turn he can't be, refreshed and go back to being active, they can take him out or you can't use him. So be wary of that. I think you only need 2 because typically you want to play this mid to late game, and with all the searching power and draw power you have in this deck, you're going to find him relatively easy. Next is, in total, because you have Cavendish and you have the 4 Leo, I think 2 Rebeccas is more than enough. I think having that additional draw power is good. If you do feel like you still don't have enough draw power, increase your Cavendish to 4. And if you feel like that still isn't enough, then you can add some additional Rebeccas, but I think 2 is more than enough here. You know, essentially look at the top 3 cards, find a Dressrosa type character, and obviously you can't find another Rebecca, but you know, makes it fair. Next is going to be One-Leg Soldier, 2 cost, 2k counter. So adding more counters in the deck, I think is perfect. And on top of that, activate main, you may send this character to the trash and give up to one of your opponent's -3 costs. So this definitely synergizes very well with Zoro. And again, if you don't use it with Zoro, you still have the counters, which I think is really nice. So definitely run 4 of these. And then the last blocker I like to run in this deck is the new Frankie, 4 cost, 5k attack, 1k counter. And then the reason why I really like this guy, on KO, play up to a cost 3 or lower Dressrosa type character rested from your trash. So this is a really great way to pull in other blockers, get, you know, Toy Soldier back, really makes him very versatile. Especially if your opponent, you know, does one final attack, you block, you put down another blocker, and it's your turn. That new blocker becomes active, and now you have a blocker again. So super impactful, run 4 for sure. And then we're going to be talking about the new Zoro, 4 cost 6,000. On play, rest up to either your leader or stage, and KO up to a 4 cost or lower, and then place the top 2 cards of your deck in trash. So I like Zoro because the fact that you can KO a 4 cost or lower, that's amazing. When you combine that with, you know, Toy Soldier, 4, 5, 6, 7, you can instantly get rid of a 7 cost with a single one-leg soldier. So I think it makes Zoro pretty impactful, especially when you play him out to Rebecca. If you do Rebecca, Kyros, or Rebecca, Luffy, and then Zoro, you flood the board, you get removal, and because you have Korra Coliseum, you're going to be able to attack with, let's say, Kyros or Luffy right out the gate. So I think having 4 of these is definitely what you want. And then the last 2 cards we're going to talk about, the first one is Gum Gum Red Rock. In OP10, just like OP09, there's a lot of large bodies, from Shanks to Teach, and you want to be able to deal with those, especially those annoying ones that just make it so hard to get rid of. Even like the Captain Kid, you know, the green where he has 8k attack, if you add 1 Dawn, you have to attack him and nothing else. So in those situations where characters are super annoying, Red Rock is definitely a game saver. You can essentially bottom deck any card to the owner's deck. I think run 2 of these is very situational and typically reserved for like more of the late game. So having 2 should be more than enough, and it does have a trigger. Place up to 1 character to cost 4 or lower to the bottom of its owner deck. So that can also be impactful if you're going against Shanks, for example, and let's say Lucky Roo is out, essentially you kill him and he KOs a 6,000 power or less, you can bottom deck him using a trigger. So running 2 I think is good. If you continue to find you're having a hard time with big bodies, you can go up to 3, but I think 4 is definitely overkill for this deck, because if you do 4, you're losing your other incredible tech elsewhere, which you don't want to do. And then the last one is going to be 4 of your Korra Coliseum. As you noticed, a lot of abilities with like Zoro or Leo, you have to rest either your leader or stage. And a lot of times you don't want to rest your leader because why would you? You're losing an attack power there. So I think having Korra Coliseum is great. And on top of that, this card essentially gives all of your characters character rush. What this means is, as soon as you put down, let's say, Kyros, as long as your opponents have rested characters, Kyros can attack right away and start clearing the board. So having 4 of these is really impactful because you want to see Korra Coliseum as quick as possible. And before we get into some games to see into action, as I mentioned, when you're first playing, you want a mulligan if you don't see a Leo. If you don't see a Leo or Rebecca, definitely mulligan. If you do see a Korra Coliseum, then I think it's worth like keeping your hand around. But if you don't see Korra Coliseum, Leo, or Rebecca, definitely mulligan. And in turn 2, typically you're gonna want to, you know, get off an attack, you know, with Usopp to help reduce some cards in your opponent's hand. And then if you have, like, put down the Idio. He only costs 2k. He only costs 2. He has 2k power, and he's a blocker as well too. So if you're able to do that, you can like make sure you don't get wrecked too early, too quickly, because you only have 4 life. So if you give up your life early game way too quickly, you're gonna have a hard time. So survive as much as you can, combined with all the counters, all the blockers you have. Once you get to 7 Dawn, you're gonna be pretty much unstoppable. So with that, let's get into a couple of games. Let's see how they go. You're definitely gonna see a lot more Usopp games from me because he's definitely gonna be my main. I think Usopp and Reiju are probably gonna be my 2 mains in OP10. I'm probably going to sneak in Sugar as well, too, because Sugar feels very fun and super strong. But let's get into a couple games, see how it goes, and I definitely appreciate everyone watching. Thank you. Guys, let's get into our first OP10 match, Usopp versus Shanks. And in OP10, Shanks is still super duper powerful, especially now that he has Divine Departure, a few other red cards like the new Zoro, Luffy, even the 2020 Chopper. He can be quite nasty. Let's actually go in here and put our Coral Coliseum down. End their turn. I probably could have done Rebecca first, but the best searcher you want initially is the Leo. And look at that, I called for him and he showed up out of nowhere. So I appreciate. We have a Kyros already. I don't think we need another one. Let's take a Luffy. Let's take this guy, which works out. And then to get rid of it, we'll get rid of our Rebecca. I don't want to get rid of Zoro just yet. And then we can attack, so I'll probably do that. Boom. Let's do a 7k swing. Shanks is arguably probably one of the best red leaders of all time. I do think, I am happy to see that Zoro is starting to make a comeback, but Shanks just has such an incredible kit, such good cohesion, and this 2020 Chopper card, so fun. Of course, do I want to take this? I'll take this. So we got another 2k counter / blocker, which actually works out for us. Let's actually go in, play this, get rid of that, boom. And then lastly, we want to give this 6k because he's going to minus 1k. And we can at least get a card out of hand, so I'd be appreciative of that. So that works out. Cool, end our turn. If we could somehow get a Kyros or a Rebecca next turn, it's going to line us up for such a beautiful combo. But I don't think we're going to be that lucky. And look, we got another 2020 Chopper. So annoying. I think someone who's never seen the anime might be confused, like, why is 2020 Chopper here? It's because Law did a whole body switch thing. So let's just come in here, boom, counter, counter. We don't want to go down to 2 life too quickly, so I feel like I had to do that. And now we do have 7, which is really nice. Let's see. We're going to pay him down, bring this back up to his hand, make this super annoying for him. So we can actually come down, do an attack. Even if he does a minus 1k, that just means Zoro can attack for 6, which actually works out, so boom. Zoro, do your stuff. Otama. Goodbye, friend. End our turn here. We do have 2 2k counters, so we should still be relatively safe. I assume this Shanks might want to take his Zoro down. It's like, you don't want me to have like a big board. So if I have a big board, I start getting into my tempo. Usopp literally becomes unstoppable. So you gotta try to stop me as much as I can. Clear my, oh, of course. And because he removed one of my Dressrosa type characters, boom, get another card in hand, which is perfect. And then we're simply just going to counter out of this. Goodbye. Let's come in here. We have Sabo. If Sabo can't do anything, so I'm probably gonna have to put down this Frankie, which is fine. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards to mess with. So we can actually come in here and do 5. You know what? I might put 2 blockers down. So it's 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that should work out. We'll do a 7k swing first, then we'll do a 9k swing, and we'll put down 2 blockers, which will be super annoying. Boom, they lost life from that. Perfect. Going for another attack. Cool, they're down to 2. And we can just come in here now and just put our blockers down, protect ourselves as much as possible, and end our turn. So this is looking decent. They do have 9 cards in hand. We really need a pudding soon. We have at least this 2k counter. We have 2 blockers, 3 more health. The reason why I'm always like talking about these things like, hey, how many Dawn you have? How many Dawn I have? Cards, because you have to keep reassessing the battle state, seeing how things are working out for you, what your opponent might do next, and then base your moves on that. So it's always good to like reassess, see where you're going. This Lucky Roo is definitely super annoying. But we'll just come in here and just simply do a 2k counter. He's going to do a 7k, and you know what? I'm actually going to let Frankie get hit just so I can put another blocker down, which I think would be super awesome for us. Or I could just do a, you know what? I might do a Rebecca search actually. Let's use card activation. Let's look for Rebecca. And we'll get another Leo. Like, literally, I don't know where the Rebecca is that we need. We did find Pudding, which is nice. Let's actually put down the Rebecca first. Do a search. Boom. We found her. We can't get Red Rock, which is really unfortunate. So we'll take 2 of these. And we can actually get rid of this Luffy. Alright, cool. So now let's see where we land. And this is where we can start doing some fun moves. So first we're going to put down the Rebecca into the Kidos, and then we can put the Zoro down as well too. And then we'll actually activate his ability, KO or rest him, KO this, and then we can send this back to hand, which leaves the field wide open for us, which is good. And now let's see what type of moves we want to pull out. We have this Kyros. I feel like this Kyros killing him is probably going to be ideal, so let's just do that. Boom. Yep, that's what I thought. Let's come in here, give him 2 extra K, empty out his board as much as possible. Like, that's what we're aiming for here. So 11k swing, is he gonna take that? He will try. Yep, he's probably gonna counter out of this. Yep, go ahead, give up more cards, buddy. And he still lost it. He probably didn't want to give up too much of his cards, which is like perfectly understandable. Come in here, do another 9k swing. He takes that, and boom, GG, he's done. This is why once he let Usopp start getting into his tempo, it is so ridiculous. Like, look, he has all these strong cards in hand, but they wouldn't have done anything. Next turn, we would have won flat out. We still had a blocker. We still have another Rebecca combo that we can do. So GG, let's do another game. And like, even after the ban, I think Usopp has gotten stronger because cards like decks like Enel lost to Raigo, Ice Age, even though I liked running Ice Age, which was great. Ice Age was annoying to like kill Kyros and stuff like that. So GG, good stuff. Let's get into another game and see who our opponent will be. Let's get into our last OP10 match, Usopp versus Yamato, which is always good. And I actually wanted a blocker, so this worked out because the Yamato, that's all she wants to do is, as soon as she can, get off some big hits, use her double attack to reduce you, especially if we have 4 life leader, is dangerous. So let's just go in here, deploy our Core Coliseum, end our turn. Yamato is going to be even more dangerous once her new structure deck comes out in June. So definitely expect to see more of her. Like, the 2 things that I feel like is often overlooked is double attack and banish. Double attack is so nasty. If you get that off once or twice, it's like really hard to come back from. And then on top of that, if you have, you know, banish, then you just lose cards. You don't go to your hand, they don't get it activated. So overall, that makes it like super annoying. So we're gonna go for attack here. Next turn, she's probably gonna do all 4 Dons, going for a little double attack. So I have to put down my Bart. If I don't put down Bart, it's gonna be bad times. Even her like activating main once per turn is pretty nasty too. If your opponent has 3 or less life, attach up to 2 rested Dons to one of your characters, then you're gonna eventually have 3 life. So she is nasty. I do want to learn her. I just don't know about green yellow. Like, it's an okay color combination, especially since like yellow lost to Raigo after the ban. Like, it's okay. Oh, instead of attacking, she just put down Dogstorm. Okay. So let's just come in here, and we will give up this Rebecca. Let's do that. I hope we get a Leo. I think a Leo would be good. So we could put down... You know what? I'm probably going to put down another blocker. Just because I'm still worried about Yamato coming in, messing me up. So the best thing I can do is, let me just go for an attack here. And even with Dogstorm's ability, you know, if he takes down one of my blockers, I'll at least have another one laying around, which is good. Like with Yamato, please play safe early on, because that's when she's like an assassin. Come right behind you and punch you right in the head. Cool, she didn't have any triggers, or she didn't want to play it. End her turn. So we have 2 blockers, and let's see where we end up. I know she was planning like killing my blocker with this, and then getting off a big attack, but I'm sorry, that's not gonna work out for you. And then I still have a 2k counter in hand, which is quite nice. Yes, go in for the attack. I'll probably just take this actually. I don't mind it too much, so go ahead. He's probably choosing which character to get rid of. Yep, look at that. And I got my Leo, which actually works out pretty well in my favor. And then no blockers. We'll just take that. If we would have got a Kitos, I would have been so happy. See, she was hoping she would lose the blocker so she can do a 4 Dawn attack and do a thing, but I'm not going to let that slide. That's not going to happen, not today. But now that we are at 3 or less life, she can start using her activate main ability, which is also going to be annoying for us. You got 5 to 5. And we are simply just going... You know what? I can just actually have... No, we'll just counter out of that. We'll take this. I probably could have just killed the Frankie, gotten back the Bart, and that would have gone back into block mode, which would have worked out. She does have 4 more Dawn still, so I suspect another character is going to come down. Hopefully not something with double attack, because that would be super annoying. Cool, she didn't do any of that. We do have 7 Dawn, but we don't really have anything that we could really put down. I could do the Cavendish into the EDO. That probably will make the most amount of sense. So let's put the Cavendish down. Right? We can actually come in here. We want to do a search with him, so we'll actually go ahead, do some attacks, see what we want to get rid of. The only thing we can't really get, we got to get rid of this Sabo. Like everything else we need here. I wish I didn't have to, but sadly we do. We come in here, we attack. I'm surprised he actually gave that up. I thought we needed more, but that worked out for us in our favor. Like I'm paying a little bit cautious because I know Yamato's just waiting. If she gets a 1 attack, I'm literally going to be at 1 life. That's going to be really hard to come back from. So I'm trying to play it smart. Make sure I don't do anything too reckless. Let's go ahead and put down EDO down, and then we can do a search as well too. See if we can get our Kaidos, or actually him. Like he works out pretty well too, so I'm not too worried about that. Let's also take who? We'll take Zoro, and then we'll get rid of our toy soldier because we need the rest of the cards in hand, and we'll end our turn here. So we still have 2 blockers, which works out really well. And now it's in Yamato's court. What is she gonna do? Oh, rest one of your opponent's characters. Yep. So she rested one of the. Whew, my God. Killing poor Ideo like that. I feel like she didn't want to kill, you know, she couldn't kill Frankie because of the cost +1. This is why this is like so good and effective. Can he actually do anything? No. So we'll actually kill this right here. And we're actually going to just get our Bartholomew back. So unless she has Rush or something, next turn, we just have another blocker anyway. This is why I like playing Frankie. I think it's like super effective. Especially, and now we can start doing a card combo. So this is actually pretty amazing. So we can, let's see. Okay, KO up to one of your rested characters, which costs, so I have no rested character, which is great. So we'll deploy this. We'll deploy Kitos. We'll actually get rid of, oh, we can play one more thing. I'm probably just going to play the Zoro to get rid of this right here. So we'll come here, we'll play the Zoro, we'll activate Curious' ability, send this up, and then we're just going to rest this, take care of that, boom. She can't really do much, and then we can actually come in here and get some nice attacks off, which is great for us. So let's go ahead and do an attack first. And again, we still have a blocker, which makes it really dangerous for her. So we flooded our board, we have a blocker, it's going to be hard for Yamato to get off a double attack, which is ideally what we want. And then next turn, before we kill her, we can just simply activate Pudding and just put a big dent in. So we'll come in here. We'll do a pretty big swing, 8k. We need to get rid of something, get rid of Kora Coliseum. We don't need that anymore. Boom, she gave that up. Play down. This character can also attack opponent's active characters. Okay, it happens. And then let's end our turn. So we have a good amount of counters here. And then next turn, we're just going to go for end of game, which will be great for us. All right, let's see what she does. So we might be able to win this game. Oh, of course, but we can Red Rock this. I'm really happy with this, actually. I think Red Rock worked out perfectly. We can do Red Rock into Pudding, and we should have enough things to essentially just take her out. So this is why I always recommend running. I think 2 Red Rock is good enough because Red Rock isn't typically needed till later in the game. Does she have a blocker? Nope. She also got banished. Wow. She is interesting. Well, go for it, Yamato. Do what you must. I still have 3 life. So let's see who this guy's gonna go for. It's funny that, okay. So we can come in here, 3, 4, 5. No, we gotta give it up. Use card's ability, get another card in hand. And then now if she does attack, we do have enough counters, I think, that we can deal with it. So I'm not too worried. Yep, come in, buddy, come in. Go in for your big strike. Oh, she's leaving 1 Dawn around. I wonder why. Come in here, boom. Gone. And now we can do our Red Rock. Sorry. See you tomorrow. And then we can just go for a big swing here and see if we can just end the game. Yeah, I'm probably not going to use Pudding. Let's just go for a big swing. I think that's what we need to do. Go for a 13k swing. Either she empties her entire hand, and if she does, we have other cards you can still attack with. So, and boom, nothing else she could do. GG. Like, as I keep saying, if Usopp can get into the right tempo, he can literally beat anybody. And on top of that, I think the ban only made him stronger. Some of the annoying cards that you didn't want to deal with, like Moria, Ice Age, Raigo, even Jinbei, like, they kind of messed with them, and now they're all gone. The only thing that really impacted him was not being able to use Ice Age, but at the same time, Usopp isn't really known to be like a super removal deck. He has some removal, sure, but he's not meant to be played like a Lucci. So, like, you don't need a lot of, like, you don't need Ice Ages in this deck. It was nice, but either way, GG. Hope you guys learned a lot. My first local with OP10, I've been playing a lot on the simulator. It's going to be this week, going in, seeing how I do. So yeah, follow along. And if you like this, leave a comment. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.